Hello? Can you guys hear me? Alright. Okay. There we go. Alright. Alright. Is music too loud? Are we good? Hello, Winters. How are you? Okay. Um. Can you hear music now? Possibly. It's just some ambient music. Okay, good. Good. Maybe. Possibly. Cool. Alright. Cool. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great night. Going to move the mic a little bit. Sorry. Alright. Alright. Here we go. Alright. So, what are we doing tonight? Alright. I don't really know. Might talk a bit about character development, perhaps. Okay, character development topic. Let's do that. Blue, black, red, purple. Okay. Maybe more red. Oh, my writing sucks. I'm sorry. Character development. With Krita. Alright, so yeah, let's come up with characters. So characters and settings go hand in hand, I feel like. And then you also have maybe like circumstances. I should make that brush smaller. Kind of like that. And then so you have like this your options of creating a story with all of these. Plot, maybe. And then you have like your kind of story arc of like your build up and then your climax and then like the reaction to the climax, I guess. Yeah. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but thank you. I haven't studied a lot about character development too much. The only research I've done is like how to write dialogue well. This brush is good for drawing, not so much for writing. Let's try this one. Nope. Why? Character development. Whoop. What happened? development DEVE. Okay, why don't I just type this up? Character development. So this is how you would create a character. You know what? Let's actually like... So I've been talking for years about creating a webcomic, and I've created my characters in a very loose way, and I've created like a story arc in a very, very loose way, but and the setting is just normal, everyday, not alternate universe setting. But I mean, I want it to be a love story, so I have 2 characters, and the point of view is going to be each of those characters. Potential webcomic. Save? Close? Why are you so big? That's what she said. Yes? Maybe? Character development. I'm sorry, I'm just fluffing around Krita right now. Pick a color. Red, maroon. Save. Close. Done. Alright. Okay, so what are we doing? Alright. So yeah, like I was saying, character setting, circumstances, and plot. Okay. So my characters are come on. Why are you not drawing? What's going on? Technical difficulties, I apologize. Sorry, I'm just being picky now. Okay. So my characters are they're eventually going to be in love, but it's gonna be a very roundabout way of getting there. So I have Hazel and Byron. And then secondary characters, we have Byron's brother. I forgot his name already. Keith, I think I named him. And I've already named these characters. But aw, hi Mango. Sorry you lost. Shoot, what was her name? Chelsea. Right? Chelsea. Okay, so you have the main characters, Hazel and Byron, and then Byron and Keith are brothers. Bros. Second is good. Congrats, I guess, on second, on silver. Welcome. I am kind of rambling about character development tonight. And I've been thinking about this webcomic for a number of years, but I never got around to actually doing it. So we're gonna walk through the entire plot tonight, hopefully. Yeah, so it might not be a lot of drawing, it might just be a lot of rambling tonight. I should, but I need to sort out details first. Okay. Yes, you can probably just listen to me, Mango. Okay, so main character Hazel and Byron are eventually gonna have a thing for each other, but that's like chapter 2. Chapter 1 is gonna be like the whole meeting process. So Byron is the older brother, Keith is the younger brother. Excuse my penmanship. At the very beginning, Byron and Chelsea are in a long-term relationship. Hazel and Keith are meeting for the first time, so they're like a new couple. And that's like the very, very beginning. But eventually, like, because Hazel and Byron are the main characters, we have to figure out how to get them together. And that's the part I haven't figured out yet. So the circumstances are what we're thinking of setting is just current universe. I don't know if that's correct, but I should be typing this out instead of writing it out, but there's something tactile about writing. I think that it's being lost. I think that's why calligraphy is so popular now. Yeah. I should put this somewhere. Let me put it here. Here. Hazel and Byron. But then you have Keith. And then you have Chelsea. Whoa! Sorry. And then character. What am I doing? Was that the pen? Yeah, okay. Character setting. Whoa. Circumstances. And that's like a triangle. Okay. Delete you. And erase you. Okay. So scene 1. Well, okay. Like it's how you define characters as you go. Hazel's kind of one of my original characters that I've made. So she's very quiet. Very quiet. I have her as an only child, just to make things easier. And then I also have her parents as characters. She's about 20. Okay, so speaking of her parents, kind of based on my first job, but I worked at a florist for my first job. It's a horrible flower. But like small business owner. Long hours. The whole deal, and she helps out. This is gonna be all over the place. Thank you. Numb popcorn. So Hazel helps out with the small business, and I don't know how in depth I'm gonna get right now, because this could make for a very, very, very long stream if that was the case, and we have to go grocery shopping later. Okay, so that's Hazel. Less to think about a little bit because she's an only child and very quiet, I suppose. Byron is... Yeah, we have a 24-hour grocery place that is amazing, and shopping at like 11 at night is the best time because there's no one around and they're just restocking. Byron is the older brother of Keith. Also is dating Chelsea. A long-term relationship. Hazel meets Keith and they start dating. Or what? What? Winters? Or what? What? Where? What did you just realize, Mango? Oh, yeah. 24-hour shopping. Best time. No. Well, I mean, my schedule's whenever, honestly. Oh, right, because it would be ahead, so. So Hazel and Keith are gonna meet eventually and start dating. Older brother of Keith dating Chelsea in a long-term relationship, which is key, which means they're at a different stage in relationships. So, because we're having both Hazel and Byron as main characters, you can kind of jump through different stages of relationships while both looking them at the same time. It's weird because I'm a morning person, but also a night person. So yeah, it's been interesting. But good luck with the move, Mango. When is that happening? Okay, so that's coming up. Yeah. Moving's fun. Start going through your stuff now. That's my advice. After moving quite a bit in the last few years. So because it's a long-term relationship between Byron and Chelsea, how do they communicate? What type of relationship are they in? Like, you're taking nothing, Mango. The essentials. That's all you need. Minimalistic living. It's the way to go. I have too much stuff. So, I mean, like, starting dating is a whole thing, because that's how you, like, set the communication, sort of. Again, excuse my penmanship. That's good. My mom is very, very sentimental. And she hangs on to a lot of stuff, which is not the greatest. Come on. I'm just gonna move this because that text is bothering me. Yeah. So okay. I feel like this is like a class lecture or something with notes. So like we're looking at like the dating. It's like I'm trying to convey different conflicts between couples, and I get to do that in a early stage thing with Hazel and Keith because they just started dating, but then I also have like the later stages of a more steady relationship between Byron and Chelsea because they're a long-term relationship, and how do they communicate and things like that. How does their relationship affect who they are as people, because being in a long-term relationship you develop more as an individual person, or like you develop in a different way. That makes sense, Mango. Yeah, I mean, like, just have the essentials and be practical with your things. And anymore, there's like there's sentiment in a lot of virtual things which don't take up physical space, which is awesome. Yeah. Good luck moving. Yeah, so like with an early relationship, I should start color coding. I never color coded my notes in high school. What color would I think Hazel was red. So I'm going to say this is an early relationship. And what conflicts do they go through? Right? As an early couple. Very funny winters. Because you're just getting to know the person when you're in a new relationship. But in that moment of like in the scene where they meet and where they date and all that stuff, in the process of them getting to know each other, the audience also gets to know them. Getting to know the inside crazy and the outside crazy. Yeah, so like in the sense of how you present yourself to the world versus how you actually are, I suppose. I'm gonna say Hazel is red. Let's say Byron is green. Keith, let's go. Orange. Keith is orange. And Chelsea can be purple, I guess. I'm not investing too much into Chelsea because she is a secondary character. Yeah. So then, getting to know you. Sound of Music song? No, The King and I. That song. Getting to know each other also means the audience gets to know the characters as well. So, for example, if they're going through a fight, you'll see how each of them is going to react to each other and respond to each other, and that's a reflection of their character. So it's not like you have to spell out what type of person they are right away. You can develop with them as they are developing, or like learn the type of person they are in their moment of self-discovery, either as an individual or as a couple. So for Byron and Chelsea, for example, they may already have a set mode of communication. So they are already solid in knowing themselves in their relationship. So most likely I'll have to throw in like some sort of conflict to shake things up and see how they react, so the audience can learn the type of people that they've established for themselves already. Right? Yeah. So, conflict. And this is all based off of what I've already written loosely, but there were a lot of details. Like, the way I tell stories, I'd like to keep it like very organic. And I've read somewhere that if you want to do like a whole time jump thing or like a flashback thing, only do like an actual past or like actual scene from the past in like real time, only if you need the audience to be there. Otherwise it can just be like something that's mentioned. So I mean, off the bat, I'm just introducing Hazel and Byron, and then Keith and Chelsea soon after that, and then go forward from there and see what type of people they are. I'm not going to do like a whole backstory because I'm going to explain like Hazel's parents' business through a scene of her actually being there, and then that'll explain stuff. Oh, yes. Alright, yeah, I forgot about that manga. They actually have a Broadway show for that now, The King and I believe. Ken Watanabe, isn't it? I think, if I remember right. Did you watch the original? I forgot who was in it. But like the really, really old one where everything was done at a studio. That's cool. And then the newer one was like in the 2000s, I believe. And then out Broadway, so. Okay. Was it like was the dancing scene indoors or outdoors? Because if it was indoors, it was the original. If it was outdoors, it's a remake. Yeah, probably the original then. The easiest conflict I can think of between Byron and Chelsea is that Chelsea would cheat on Byron somehow, but it could easily be something else. It could also be that they just fall out of love, too, potentially. But we can get to that later. Yeah, so let's... Oh, we didn't talk about Keith. Keith is the younger brother. I'm gonna say he's like 21. Give or take. Let's say Byron is 20... 24? 25? 25, let's say, and then Chelsea might be 23. I don't know, these are arbitrary numbers. So Keith is your typical younger brother, but I do want him to have like distinctly different views than Byron, because that'll kind of make things a little easier. Because we are aiming to get these two together. Any thoughts, Winters? Keith is younger brother, so he's probably stubborn. And thinks he's always right. No, I know exactly. So... and that's how you develop characters. You take a character and then just dump it in a situation and see what happens, see how they react. And that's how you get to know them. Who are you talking about, Winters? Keith? Not necessarily. Well, I mean, like, you hope for the best for everyone, but because Keith and Byron are brothers, you're gonna be seeing more of Keith than you might normally, is my thought. So, like, there's gonna be a point where Hazel and Byron are... No, I do understand. But, I mean, like, I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, necessarily. Like, I want their breakup to be obviously real, but I don't want to just, like, completely forget about him. Because he's still a character. Like, in the sense of he's still brothers with Byron, so he may make, like, an appearance a little later, and I still want to have him be a realistic character instead of a scapegoat. So, I think, like, at the end of chapter 1, the events that will have occurred are that Byron and Chelsea are no longer. Byron is single. Keith and Hazel have gotten together, but they've subsequently broken up, so Hazel is single. And that's as far as I've gotten for the story, because I'm at the point of how do I get them back together, and how awkward it is gonna be for Keith to kind of still be around, and is it gonna be like who's the better man sort of thing between Byron and Keith? So essentially we're looking at like 3 different relationships. And 2 of them are gonna end in order for the 3rd one to work. Yeah, but then it's like the circumstances that they would actually meet up, because like and like interactions happen so quickly, so it's just a matter of time. So that is chapter 1. Chapter 2. And like chapter 1, I've already done details. It's just like fluffing out the dialogue and the scenes and all that stuff. And then deciding the order of events as well. Because like the state that because, okay, all of chapter 1 is basically building up to the moment that Hazel and Byron actually start dating or are in the process of starting to date. So Hazel's background is you've seen her go through an entire relationship with Keith and break it off, and she may or may not be in the recovery stage, so to speak, of like getting over Keith. Byron has also gone through a really bad breakup with Chelsea, and Chelsea's no longer part of the picture, and I'm probably not going to bring her around again. And he's dealing with being alone for the first time in a long time. So those are the two states of minds that these two characters are in at the end of chapter 1. And for the two of them to get into a relationship together, it's I mean, like, I will probably bring Chelsea, but not as like a major deciding factor in where their relationship goes. Or like, I think she'll be like in the background as one would be in the background of someone's mind after a breakup. Like Byron would potentially still be reminded of Chelsea with small things that Hazel might do or something like that. But having Chelsea be there in person is not going to be a continuing thing, I don't think. It might be like a moment and conflict again, but I'm not going to have her around as such an involved character as she was in chapter 1. And then the same thing with Keith, because Keith is Byron's brother, he kind of has to be around, and Hazel has to deal with Byron being Keith's brother and having to still see Keith potentially on a regular basis. Yeah, and like the moment that Hazel and Byron meet, and the time between the meeting and them deciding to go out could be dragged on for a really long time, because they would both be having that internal dialogue and internal conflict. When it comes to like, do I actually want to start dating again? Do I actually want to start dating them again? Or like, because Byron's gonna be dating Keith's ex, and Hazel's gonna be dating her ex's brother, which already is a setup for like a rom-com. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. I don't know what else to say. Do you think the story is involving enough to be a webcomic? It's just already convoluted. I'm going about this the long way. If you hear the heater in the background, I apologize. Another idea that I'm toying around with for a short story Oh, what am I doing? If we're still using this triangle of character, setting, and circumstances, the setting I want it to happen is a sci-fi setting. And then our characters are unnamed at the moment. A and B. And then the circumstances are what I'm trying to figure out. So in this case, instead of starting with characters like we did with Hazel and Byron, because we already knew the setting, we're going to start with the setting and the circumstances and then create the characters. So I want a sci-fi setting on potentially a spaceship. In the middle of combat. And I guess that would be more circumstance. This is going to be a short story. Spaceship, middle of combat, and then you have your characters A and B. Okay, so if it's in the middle of combat, we have a bunch of options for the type of characters. You have civilians, you have like, I don't know, the enlisted, I will call them. So you could have anyone from like being a private to commander, I suppose. Could also have like medics, doctors, etc. Like at this point, because it is a short story, I don't think it's going to matter who they're combating. It could be another ship. But because A and B are in a love story, and because it is a short story, I'm not gonna make it too long. Like, we're only looking at a moment in time between the two of them. And that moment in time has to include a reunion. Because you're trying to make a really quick story arc in a short amount of time. So the reunion would be here, and then parting ways would be there, I suppose, or like continuing to stay with each other, or not staying together. I think the climax would be a confession. Or like, yeah, a confession. Hi, Carl. No, I mean, potentially, right? How are you tonight? Let's see. Yeah, I'm just thinking through story ideas. Pretty good, kind of tired. If I ramble a lot, I apologize. And the confession could go either way of like yes or no. But at the same time, there's a third option of yes and no. What I mean by that is they could confess to each other that they love each other, but because of the circumstances, they can't be together. Which I think is the most heartbreaking. Yeah. Let's go with that. So they love each other, but they can't be together because of circumstances. So, I mean, like, at this point, regardless of who they are, we've already set up their love story. And that could be applied to any setting or almost circumstance. So it's like these three things are very much tied together in stories. I'm sorry, Mango. Can you still hear me? No. I don't know if speaker would be too weird. Okay, so that's kind of our, Okay, cool. Thank you, Mango. So right here is essentially our plot for the entire short story. Essentially. Okay, so let's develop that then into actual scenes. I'm just gonna move this over here and delete everything else. Woo! There we go. What can we do here? Yes. Okay. So I'm really bad at labeling my layers, so I apologize if that really bothers you. But okay, so let's name our characters. So we have character A and character B. Character A and character B, who are going to have a reunion. But the ship is under attack, I suppose. Spaceship. Under attack. So who is A and B? A could be... A could be a nurse. Sorry for the Windows noise. A could be a nurse or a doctor. I think I'm gonna keep to the male-female genders. Not to stereotype or anything. Let's have A be a doctor. Yeah. That would make more sense to have A as a doctor, and B could be the injured. And through this interaction, they discover each other. As weird as that sounds. Perhaps they are old acquaintances? Or would that be too much of a stretch for a short story? Like, we're trying to make this as simple as possible for a short story. If we keep adding too many things, it's gonna be too confusing. I just got really tired, I'm sorry. Not old friends? Maybe old friends? They have to know each other somehow. They are friends. Somehow. Friends to lovers? Oop. In a very, very short amount of time. Hmm. I mean, it could be as simple as that. So Mango, the short story idea I have is that there's a spaceship under attack, and then you have your characters A and B that need to fall in love because this is a love story. So that covers character setting and circumstances. So right now we're trying to figure out who character A and character B are, and it could just be as simple as that. No, completely different story. The first one is going to be like a full length, in-depth story. This is just a short story because I needed to think about something else. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I can help. Even if I'm rambling, I'm so sorry for rambling. Yay, short stories. They're a challenge to write. Because, I mean, like, with a longer story, you have the luxury of taking your time to figure stuff out. But with a short story, you have to, like, simplify it and choose your words carefully to get your point across, almost. Yeah. I like natural rambles too, because then you can kind of follow along with thought processes and things like that. Because I mean, like, you don't need a lot of words to get a story across. The can't be together thing. I thought of this a while ago. Like just like a one-liner that I want one of the characters to say. And I'm not trying to be dark or anything, but considering that the spaceship is under attack, I thought this might be fitting. The line that I thought of, how did I word it? Is that how you spell luxury? No, it is completely not. You? Let me look that up. Yeah, okay, I was right. Luxury. Love is a luxury, as is time. Thank you, Mango. But that was a line that I wanted to be said by someone. And that just confirms that they can't be together because of the circumstances. Full circle. Oh, Mango, why? Why, Mango? Are you happy? You're fine. So it's like, how do we get from their interaction to here? Do we want them to be doctor-patient? I'm gonna say yes, because then that... Not to say that all doctor-patient interactions are intimate, and I don't mean intimate in that sense. I mean like friendship intimate. Okay, so friends and also patient-doctor relationship automatically jumps to a closer relationship already. Okay, so then potentially we'll have a moment of like remembering their past together and how they know each other. Did they love each other before? Are they exes? I feel like if we make them exes or... Hi, Captain Loaded. Thanks for the follow. Kisses for you. Yeah, okay, so their past relationship slash friendship, were they exes or just friends? Okay, if we're deciding between exes and friends, is there any benefit of one to the other? Is any decision more complicated than the other? Does one require more explanation than the other? I don't think so. I think they're pretty much equal as far as the time needed to explain the past. They're definitely not acquaintances, because you would be missing that closeness right away. Unless it's like strangers to lovers and having that like huge jump. And I think that huge jump only comes in a more immediate like life or death situation. I don't think I necessarily want this statement to be in that situation. Because if it, like, okay. If we jump to a life or death situation, from a stranger relationship, having this statement is like quite a jump. And it's almost like you kind of have to say that to a stranger because of the life or death situation. Right? Like with this statement, I want it to be like very, melancholy. Is that the right word? Word of the day. Melancholy. I remember learning about the word melancholy in high school poetry class. And I don't think I completely understood it. Let's look it up. Melancholy. Melancholy, a feeling of pensive sadness, typically with no obvious cause. I mean, this statement, love is luxury as is time, is very melancholy, but there is a reason behind it, because the spaceship is under attack. So, I'm still gonna write a small definition. Pensive sadness. Synonyms. Desolation. This is a fun stream, isn't it? Woe, sorrow. Gloomy, sort of. Synonyms. Synonym buns? Yes, please. Oh wow, it just goes on. Unhappiness, dejection, depression, gloom, gloominess, misery, low spirits, pessimism, the blues. Okay, so they're not strangers. Are they exes or friends? Are they friends that wanted to be lovers? Is that too complicated? That does not look like a heart. Heart. There you go. Okay, if we make them exes, there's a potential to talk about why it didn't work out. Reason for breakup. Unnecessary syllables to words. do we want to dive into the reason for their breakup in a very short story? My gut is telling me no, because it's already pretty melancholy already. We don't need to add a sadder reason. You know, like, you don't need to bring up a sad experience in a sad circumstance. I think we need a happier memory to balance out the current setting. Happy thoughts. Happy little clouds. To balance. Mango says, I forget, did I introduce you to my Irish wristwatch yet? Well, I mean, you just heard my first attempt, so there you go. You're welcome. Almost got it, though. Well, that was my first attempt. I'm not going to attempt it again. Okay, so they are friends. And they are reminiscing on happy thoughts to balance the current situation. Thanks, Mango. I appreciate it. Okay, so then confession. Running out of space. Let's choose a different color. Purple. Okay, so no. Hold on. Confession. Let's go green. Purple's too close. I'm sorry, guys. Have I mentioned I'm very indecisive? Green confession. Let's stick this over here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually gonna be right back. It's only gonna be a few minutes. Sorry. 1 second. I'm just gonna mute my mic. Sorry, I'm back. Just had to check on something. Where were we? Okay, confession time. Huh. Sounds so daunting. Confession. Okay. Where can I write? I can write right over here. And all the way down. Okay. So there's like the opening scene, and then there is the reunion. Then they have memories and confession. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Sure. Different color. So you have the reunion, memory, confession, and then like bringing it back to the present. Ooh. Which leads to this statement. And then we'll see what happens after. Okay. So the confession comes from the memory. The memory has to be a happy thought. And this memory would be based on the universe, which is an alternate universe because we're on a spaceship that is under attack. Alternate universe. So I could take this chance to kind of develop the universe a little bit because I'm talking about their past. So it could be like how did the world get from, how did their population, society, words, how did society get to where it is now? So past society, stage, showcase, I guess. And not everyone, but people remember the past fondly. Like, you remember the happy times when you think about the past. Not everyone does that, but to balance the current situation, I think we need to. That could be said about anything. Wow, this got really deep. Yeah. Again, if you hear my heater or airplanes in the background, I'm sorry. Hopefully the music is covering that up. Okay, so then, like, that leads back to, like, what type of society is this? What type of universe is this? And it's a short story, so you can't get too complicated. Because if I start explaining that the past society was on Earth, but now the new society is on a spaceship. That would be too much to explain. So how far in the past would I be writing? I think in order to define their friendship as close. So, like, this friendship was lost for quite a while, and it's now being reformed. So you have to describe the past as very meaningful. Childhood friends, but then that would be pushing the old society way back, and I'd have to explain the difference between a childhood and a society around that time versus now, which is quite a gap. If anyone has ideas, now would be the time. It's just a lot to think about. Like, do I want to, Yes. Yeah, I want, the love is a luxury, as is timeline. I want that to be kind of an ending thought to the short story. I could have it as maybe not childhood friendship, but maybe something a bit more recent, in the sense of maybe the doctor saved the injured's life before, and maybe they had kept that relationship up for a little bit and then lost touch. Because then that immediately is that concern for someone else's well-being and having that immediate concern and closeness. Okay, let's do that. And then that way, that kind of gets around the whole societal changes. I'm running out of space. And then that also could potentially explore feelings of like gratitude. Etc. Yeah. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so but then we have to get from that to the confession, which is the next stage. So, because you can't jump from gratitude to losing touch to confession unless they actually did get pretty close. Like, for example, if they were in touch for quite a little bit, then lost touch. Yeah. I think that would make the confession a bit better. So the confession let's space, let's put you up here. Confession could be the I've always wondered thought. That's one option, right? Wondered about you. What other options do we have? Thanks. Thank you, Carl. I'm trying to make this like as realistic as possible too, because I really love trying to understand people. Because they were not exes, they were only friends or acquaintances. So how do we get from the friends to or acquaintance level to an actual confession? And I use confession in the like anime term. I'm slowing down tonight, I'm sorry. Yeah, by confession I mean like the whole like writing love letter and sticking it in a person's locker, or I like you, please be my boyfriend, that type of thing. I guess the confession is a little dependent on what we want to happen at the end of this. Um... Hmm. I think that to make this have some sort of closure, if we're jumping to that first, I don't know, we could throw in a kiss just to like complete that. But how do we get there? Because assuming they don't have a lot of time and they don't know, but this is a short story, I think a kiss is the most innocent way to tie things up. That phrase sounded really weird. Because we could go from I've always wondered about you and then have the little journey back to the present. Yeah. And by journey, I mean like where each of the characters has been between the time of the memory to the present. And that could potentially also reveal more about the society as well. Again, please excuse my penmanship. To present. And then with the present situation, just describe a bit more. And also include perhaps the I'm losing words. Urgency of the situation and how much time they actually have left together, potentially. Right? And you could say that this statement might be the climax. It's like that realization about life. Yeah? Okay. So if that's the moment that we're trying to highlight, you don't want too much of an ending. So I think a kiss is a really good ending. Yeah. I think that's a good outline. Yeah. I'm gonna end the stream at 11:30, so let's hang out for 7 minutes. Yeah, let's do this. Does anyone have any questions? Who's still awake right now? If it's no one, then this is amazing, cause recap of the scene. Yeah, I can go back. 1 second. There we go. Alright, so, recap. Thank you, Captain. So your setting is spaceship is under attack for whatever reason. You have your characters A and B, Doctor and Injured, interact, and it turns out that they are old friends. And they met in the past because A had saved B's life at one point, and they kept in touch for a little bit and maybe potentially got close, but had lost touch for a little bit, and meeting up again now in the kind of state of emergency of the spaceship being under attack. There's that sense of urgency and the unknown of how immediate life or death may be. But there is that gratitude between the two of them for having saved a life or just friendship. And that happy thought helps to balance the current situation. Then we're moving on to the confession, which is I've always wondered about you, and a little narrative of what happened after they lost touch, and maybe how they had affected each other throughout that period of wandering or further development. I don't know if there would be time for that, but that would bring it back to where they are now, the present situation, and just a recap of how urgent things are, how quickly or unknown something might be. Like, it's just a bunch of unknowns at that moment, which leads to the statement of love is a luxury, as is time. And they kiss, I guess. So yeah, a very melancholy short story, balanced by this rekindled friendship that was so important to both of them, that both of them remembered fondly, and then just bringing it back to the current situation and how little time there might be. I mean, this in itself could be a short webcomic, quote unquote short webcomic. Yeah. Thank you, Captain. Yeah. I think I'm gonna call it here, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out and putting up with my penmanship and my rambles. I am back home from a family reunion, so hopefully these streams are going to be a bit more consistent. I'm aiming to be around 2-3 hours every night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So for me right now it's about 11:30. So thank you again. Hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you later.